Good morning, everyone. My name is Keely Anderson, and I will be talking to you about health and safety for the next few minutes and thereforward. I also want to just mention to give us a like and subscribe to to our YouTube channel, and also ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. So I thought it was a really important segment for us to talk about health and safety moving forward in our industry. As you are all aware, everybody has been quite affected, but our industry really has. It's going to change moving forward, and I thought that this was a good time for us to all bring out our makeup kits and do a really deep clean and making sure that we are safe and healthy moving forward. And when things get back to normal, we're ready to hit the floor running and get back working again. Due to COVID-19, some changes that I have been kind of questioned by from other artists and talked about, I'm going to sort of be discussing just so that you're all aware of kind of the new things that we should be doing and implementing in the ways that we are conducting our services with clients. Masks are going to be something that are going to be very important and should be with you at all times. It might not be something that you're going to be using every day, but it's something that you can always give the option to your client. We, as the service provider, are the ones that should be wearing it. Obviously, we're doing makeup, so having a mask is going to not really work with the way we're servicing. Hairstylists, on the other hand, you could offer them one. You can wear one yourself if that's something that is needed. I think starting moving forward, it's going to be something that you're going to maybe even just do automatically once we begin opening things back up. I think, again, you should start thinking about ordering some masks just to have ready to go. There'd be nothing worse than you going to a service and being ready and not having that one important item that could, just make everybody's lives a lot more comfortable. This will also be your makeup assignment for the week. I think it's a good one to do, so we're just going to not do any makeup per se, but we are going to do a nice deep clean, like I said, of your kits. So I would love you guys to take all your stuff out and just restock, rethink, reorganize, and get everything looking really great again. I want you to take pictures, and those I will give you marks for. So please do document your cleaning, and that way we can, put that as the credit towards the class. Also, I'll do an updo, a clean updo. We've done a lot of messy kind of styles, and I thought we should just sort of finish this all off by doing and adding a clean style updo to your repertoire. I think clean styles are really popular more for the brunette styles. A lot of times messy updos go really well in a blonde because there's lots of depth of color. If someone has just dark hair, sometimes if you do a messy style, there's not a lot of depth in the color of her hair, so it just kind of actually looks messy. So I think that having something that is more shiny and sleek looks a lot nicer on somebody that has darker hair. Now, if somebody has darker hair and has some highlights in there, then messy styles look good. As long as there's some different colors to work with, messy styles will always look good. But just again, be careful with the solid colors that are dark. So that we'll do a little later on after we talk about sanitizing and getting our kits ready. Okay, so some things that I want to make sure we talk about is sponges. So moving forward, sponges, I know, and most makeup artists know, that they're one-time use. They're disposable. We get rid of them right afterwards. We don't wash and clean them. The beauty blenders have always been a little bit like, I'm not really quite sure. A lot of people think they can deep clean them. Some people have been deep cleaning them successfully. I'm not sure. But beauty blenders are now, moving forward, disposable. They aren't expensive, so it's something that you would want to probably not have in your kit, unless, of course, it was something that you wanted to gift your client. So it's not that they can't be used, it's something that they can request. If they request it, then you should provide it, but you should gift them with it in the end. It is going to be no use to you afterwards. It is contaminated, and again, even just thinking about things, you do not want to cause sickness to anyone. That is your career. So don't be thinking of wasting money, be thinking of being healthy. So again, beauty blenders, I take them right out of your kit. You could always have a few for that special client that wants them. Another way of doing things is keeping your eye out on sales and deals so that you can kind of stock up, so that maybe if you're going to use them, it's not going to be the end of the world giving it away just because the price point isn't going to be so horrible to you. So moving forward, disposable, our sponges are all disposable. We mostly know when we use our little wedges, of course, we're not going to wash those, but the beauty blenders, again, you have to think of them now as disposable items in your kit. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was pencils. So this is a big new thing. Pencils we've used always. The turn-up pencils we've used always. We sharpen them in front of our clients and sharpen at the end of each service. And that has been successful pretty much so far, moving forward. However, now people are going to be a little bit more uncomfortable in your chairs, especially in the beginning when we get back to work. So my rule of thumb and what I want to share with you guys is that I think any item in your kit that touches the face that is not a brush that we clean basically that is not a brush should not be, or a disposable sponge should not be used. So pencils, they go and they touch the face. You've got your lip liners, you've got your eye pencils, you've got your brow pencils. We take them, we sharpen them, we use them on the face directly. This is no anymore. This is not going to happen. So we have to think of different ways of doing things. Brows, for example, brow brushes, there's a little bit of a, we can use potted brow stuff, like the Anastasia brow dip. You can use something like that. You can use your eyeshadows for brows. It's not something that we're really dependent on. So that is fine. But you always want to use your spatula, and you always want to use your palette. You're never, ever going to use something directly from a pot. So even if you think, oh, I'm just going to use it once, my brush is clean, it's not that, that might be okay. But there is that tendency to forget and do things just unknowingly and unconsciously. So those are the things we have to get rid of in our patterns. Anything that is in a pot, you are now scooping out and putting on your palette and then applying from your palette to your client. So think of this as maybe the middle point. So you've got your kit, everything from your kit has to go onto here, and then from here it goes onto your client. With the exception, obviously, of powders, which we'll talk about later. Pencils that you love that say have a softer kind of, that are a softer material, you can actually lop off the end of it and put it on your palette. So, and then from your palette, apply it with a pencil brush or a angle brush. So maybe you have a favorite brow pencil that you really, really love. You think the color's great. It works on a lot of people just because maybe it's two-toned. It works on, maybe it's that really nice kind of taupe kind of color that is quite versatile. You can sharpen it and then just lop off the end with your spatula onto your palette, and then from your palette, apply. Some pencils we have that are harder, that probably are something that you don't really want to use that often anyway, because they might pull and tug on the skin. Brows, though, you sometimes want something a bit stiffer. So just be careful about what you're using and the things you like. Test it out. See how you can go about doing it. Pencils aren't totally off the board when it comes to the product itself, but you can't use a pencil directly on the face anymore. Lip pencils, it's the same thing. Sometimes you can even just use your lip. Lip lining is not as common as it used to be, so you can even use the lipstick as a liner and just line and then fill it in with something, just with the lip color itself. That is fine as well. So keep your pencils, you don't have to throw them all away if they're not at their expiry date yet. And usually pencils you should keep around no more than 2 years. So just make sure that they are still in good consistency and that you use them in a different way. So that I went over. So some other things that I wanted to talk to you about is also to now moving forward with your pencils and things that are going to be a lot more on your palette. A lot of those products are quite, they're really strong formulas. So I think it might be a really good idea for you guys to invest in those palette papers or just buy some wax paper and have that sort of also as something that you can use to put down those harder items. I don't know if you've ever used any kind of product that's a little bit more of a heavy formula. Maybe it's a gel liner and it's in a pot and you take it out of the pot and you put it on your palette. It's really hard to remove. It dries and it gets sticky on your palette. So make sure maybe having something like the palette papers and that can help ease your cleanup afterwards. Obviously, using one per person, you're going to throw it out after. It's disposable, as you would know. Another thing that's kind of come up is, and it often comes up with, still to this day, about liquid liners and how we can use those. Liquid liner pens that have the felt tip are not acceptable to have in your kit at all. That is something that is a one-time use. In my times when somebody does request that kind of, they want this perfect liner, maybe their flick is perfect, and they want you to use a felt tip. You can ask them to provide it for you, to say, if you have a brand that you really love, I'd be happy to use it and apply it on you. Making sure you sanitize after you do that, because you are using something that isn't in your kit, and then you will be touching everything else after, so making sure you really keep yourself very aware of hyper sanitation moving forward. So you could do that. Some people at artists don't really want to bother anybody with bringing and providing their own products, which I completely understand, and you should have some in your kit. So you could just keep your eyes out on sales that come up in stores and online, and just kind of stock up and have a few. You don't need to buy an expensive one. I know NYX has a really good one, and so does Maybelline. I think their felt tips are a fairly decent price. So if they're on sale, grab maybe 3, put them in your kit, and just have them there just in case that client wants that, and you can actually provide that service. Again, gifting it to them afterwards. And that is just the way we're moving forward with that. You do have those eyeliners that come and you kind of pull them out. It's like they've got a little well that you kind of dip into. Those you can't use, but you could use it if you had disposable liner brushes. And there are things like that available for you. And Zoom tomorrow, I will let you know. I've got a couple of websites that I'll share with you that has a lot of disposable items, from lip brushes to eyeliners to most everything you need. So moving forward with that, again, you could use anything that you're dipping into something. You can't double dip, so you would use 2 of those liner brushes. So you would take the original one out. You can even lop it off and just have the seal, the cap that you can put back on, just so you don't forget or just do something silly by just not thinking. So you could take it, a disposable wand, put it in, do one eye, take another disposable, put it in, and do the other eye. That will work as well. Cream liners are fine. They're perfect as well. You can continue using those. Again, never from the pot. You scoop it out, put it on your palette, from your palette with a brush. And that is suffice to use your liners. Another thing that you might want to use, and which has been successful in my experience, is just using mascara, a waterproof mascara, long wearing mascara. You could use and just add that down, and then use from like just with a pencil brush or a angled liner, whatever your choice. That also works really well. Another thing I was going to say, and I can't remember, I guess just, yes, moving forward, don't double dip anything. Obviously, you guys never have. You've been taught well as a makeup artist to always be conscious of these things. Again, just make sure you're uber conscious coming back into the makeup world again. Oh yeah, of course. Just moving my pad. Okay. So, another thing I wanted to talk about is that in the past, and I have done it myself, is actually when you're taking the product and you want to warm it up. It's something that is absolutely unacceptable now. It's going to be something I really miss, because I do appreciate a really nice softer formula. I think it glides on better. I thought one thing that we could possibly do is have a palette and a hair dryer, and you can kind of heat up your palette a little bit, because stainless steel is cold. So you're going to find that your products are going to dry out a lot faster on this. So I thought that maybe warming it up with a hair dryer, and then putting your product on, maybe resting your curling iron just a little bit above it, that could maybe warm up it as well, just so that when you are putting stuff on, that it has a little bit more longevity on the palette itself. So experiment with that. It is something that is not going to be acceptable. You cannot put anything, you can't run anything on your hands. Even if you sanitize, it's unacceptable. Even if you say to your client, oh, I'm sanitizing right now and then I'm going to put it on. I think it's like a no, you can't do it anymore. So you have to break that habit. Okay, let's talk about cleaning brushes. Cleaning brushes is something that we talk about a lot as makeup artists, and getting the best cleaned brushes around. I think for the most part, the best way to clean brushes is as we did before, soap and water. Soap and water actually really makes it so that you can get rid of all those heavy duty products, creams, oils, and things. Some people will say a 99 does it. A 99 will break down that oil, but when you're using your brushes, like your blusher brushes and your powder brushes, you're gonna go through a lot of 99 to get your brushes clean. It's also a lot harder on your brushes. I use Dawn. Dawn is antibacterial. I have a little mat here that I use, and I take my brush, I fill this up with a little bit of hot water and Dawn. I take my brush and I run it through, and then I set it aside. I take another, run it through, set it aside, maybe depending on what product is on the brush. Then I'll take all of those and then rinse them under warm water and then put them aside to dry. Hanging over the edge of something just so that it can get air dry from the top and the bottom. You don't want it resting on something and then it just get a little bit, this part won't dry properly, and it could get a little bit moldy if you left it there for too long, but just make sure that you have air going up and down. That is the best way to clean your brushes. After that is done, you want to take your stainless silver pot. I have probably about, I think, 8 in my kit. I'm not even kidding, because I put so many things in this. And I'll talk about more how you're going to use this. But fill this up with 70, and then every brush that you clean, you want to dip in 70 and just run it through, and then that way your brushes are guaranteed. Dawn is antibacterial, so it really does disinfect and sanitize, but just follow up with 70, then everything is going to be perfect. So that's how you should clean your brushes at all times, soap and water, and then with 70. Now, there is that time when you might be with clients and maybe there's a favorite brush that you love. I have a favorite angle brush that I love, I've had for years. It's just my favorite. If I'm doing winged liner, I really love doing it with that brush. I can do it really quick, it's easy, it's perfect. So what I do is I have my I use Cinema Secrets brush cleaner. I wrote it down exactly and I'll talk about it. It's amazing. It's a bestseller. It has an amazing smell. It's 99.99 sanitizes. So it's a really great product. Many makeup artists use it. So I recommend you get that. It's quite inexpensive. So it's something that you might want to add to your kit for those little quick cleans and spot cleans that you really need to do. So for example, I'm like, oh, I know I'm doing a bridal party and I know that I'm gonna do liner across the board. It's gonna make my life easier if I use that same brush because that brush is perfect for the way I do an eye. So you would use it, and what you would do is you would use it, and then as you're there, just finishing, you're gonna clean it straight away and then let it dry, so that it's dry and ready for your next client. You can't do it after and in between because it probably won't dry, you might forget. Just those things. It does keep you extra busy and with something else to think about. Or find that brush and order more of them and have it on hand. Then you'll be able to have a kit for everybody. Talking about brushes as well as being in a bridal party situation, you should be now thinking about stocking up brushes. You don't want to have one brush set for everybody. You don't have time to clean in between and dry in between. It's going to make your life just really terrible just because you will be completely stressed out and you are going to be able to apply product with a wet brush and you are under certain time restrictions. So I think that it's something that you want to think about investing in. It's not like you need a 22 brush set, like a 22 piece brush set. You could just do 5 brushes. You can have your lip brush, your concealer brush, and then a blusher and your just 2 shaders for the eyes. And you could go back and forth with that. So just think about what brushes you like best. You can maybe, I know a lot of you use foundation brushes, maybe you want to use sponges instead when it comes to a bigger party. Plan out your brushes and how you're going to use them, and then that way it'll be easier on the day. If you know that you have maybe 6 clients, and then when you're getting to client 3, you realize like, oh, I'm going to run out of brushes, I'm going to do those quick so that when 5 and 6 come into my chair, they're going to be ready to go. So you have to kind of think about that. I know as a makeup artist, it's really a big investment right off the go, getting your kit running and ready. There are things that we always have to buy. It's your work, but it is your work, and you have to think about it as something that people look at and see. If they see a messy kit or an incomplete kit, or you don't have a color they want, it's going to be something that they're not going to probably want to hire you again moving forward. So you have to think about that as a representation of yourself. So you really need to think about having everything that you need and putting the money into it. So brushes are something that you're going to need to have more of in your kit. Again, we talked about a lot of color theory last week, and that is something that you can also kind of keep in mind when you are thinking about buying things for your kit. Think about mixing and not having to buy straight off the board 24 foundations for every skin type. You can actually do a lot more mixing and maybe just get 3, and then you could mix a little bit better that way. And that will help you in the future too, keeping your kit costs down a bit. So I think that touches kind of a little bit on, generally speaking, how we're moving forward with our kits. And those are some things that I know that I'm going to implement right away in my changes. Other things we'll still continue to do, and we'll touch base on a few things as well. I was talking to a few makeup artist friends of mine, and just we kind of thought some important things also to kind of review and understand, and I will talk about those. So there's a situation that comes up that, and will probably be more on your mind when the situation arises, and that is when somebody comes and they are obviously very sick. Now, we should write in a contract when we're doing a service, and we should have a clause in that contract that states if somebody's quite ill that we can refuse service. It's your health that you have to be really careful about. If I go and decide that, oh, this bride, and she's got 3 bridesmaids, and one of them is obviously very ill, and I have a wedding tomorrow, and I have clients through the week, and I have another wedding or 2 weddings the next weekend. Think about you. If you're going to give that service and you're going to do it on a sick person, first of all, you're going to have to do a big clean, a super deep clean again on your kit, because there's going to be germs everywhere. It's going to be extra gross. So there's going to be that, and there's going to be the chance that it might be super contagious and you might get it. And then therefore, what's going to happen? Are you going to have to close off your clients? You can't go anywhere as a sick makeup artist and expect to work and expect to be invited to work. People are going to be like, no, thank you. Moving forward, most especially, they're going to be no, thank you. It's going to be a new world out there. So we really have to protect ourselves. So in a case like this, you can refuse, and it can be a clause. So write something in a contract that you have. And that can work for bridal parties and anything that you're sort of contracting out. Now, there is that time when you're on set, and this is always just going to be such a thing that will always sort of come across. You can have a model that comes in your chair and she's great, and then halfway through the day she gets sick. Halfway through the day you could get sick. So that's why we now need to be uber cautious and aware of these situations that might arise. We should be having masks. We should have everything disposable. So maybe this person turns sick, you're just going to be like, okay, I'm actually going to move you to a different area and do your makeup there. I'm going to use only disposable stuff, and anything I bring to use, I'm going to put in a special bag to take home to do deep clean. And then you can kind of treat that person differently. They're going to be fine with it. They're going to actually respect it, and so are the other clients that you maybe are working on. They're going to respect the fact that you're uber aware of this situation. If the clients see you doing her in the space that you're doing them, they're not going to be so excited about returning to your chair and getting maybe a change of look. And again, too, you don't want to be responsible for that sickness causing another person to be sick. So if model A is sick, just say, you know what, we're actually going to do your makeup services elsewhere. It's nothing to be offended by. It's just that I need to protect my health and the health of the other clients or the other models, whatever it may be. Another situation that can kind of come across is when you have an actor. Well, it might be the number one. So the number one is probably in every scene. Now, if this person gets sick, this is a situation that you can't shut down production and all go home because number one's out, or you can't switch an order of scenes because number one's out. You might be able to do a few things, but usually if the cast isn't there and a day's usually planned out, you can't just change your plan halfway through the day. It doesn't work that way. Again, you have to take super, super precaution. So again, maybe pulling out disposables, maybe making a little station that is just for number one, and you wearing a mask, and them wearing a mask if they're doing hair. If it's before makeup application, of course, because you don't want to ruin the makeup artist's job if you're doing hair. So thinking about those things as well, you really have to take care of yourself. It's your career, meaning you do not have a choice. You do not want to get sick. This is lucrative for you. This is how you pay your bills. So don't try to do a polite thing and be like, oh, it's okay, I've got a great immune system, I'm not going to get sick. Don't think about that. The things now are getting stronger and affecting us more, and people will understand more. So again, I think that's the best way to go moving forward. Have masks, take things aside, and you will be respected for doing it. Okay. Again, just make sure that sometimes you can have people coughing around you and sneezing, allergies, they're not sick. Just be aware of what's around. Close your kit, close all your products up. I know as a makeup artist, you kind of like to have everything open and like, look what I have, and it's so colorful and beautiful, and like, look at my artistic world over here. Now I think everything's going to be private and closed, and you take what you need and you keep everything sort of closed, and everything should not be out in the open. Your sponges, and you're not going to have a few just dangling around just in case you need them. You're going to have them in a closed container. That's definitely I would get a lot of clear things that you can store and stack so that you can see everything and be just as fast and efficient, but you're not going to have things just around. And a lot more really making sure things are clean, having a lot of alcohol on hand, 99 and 70 in atomizers, so that you can be spraying things and at ease with your practices. Another thing that is something that we want to do is I would now have Lysol cleaning wipes in my kit. And you're now going to clean everything after every client. It is going to take you longer, and I know it's something that's a little bit, sometimes you just want to get out of there, but now you're going to have to wipe down everything. So if you've got this, and this is your palette, you're going to take wipe, and you're going to wipe the whole thing and put it away. You're going to take this and wipe it all down and put it away. It's the standard way that the world is going to go, and it's going to be really interesting to see how, moving forward, how things are going to be determined by the Beauty Council of BC and what we're going to do in ways of bringing things so that we can actually do our job, but do it safely. Okay. Question that always comes up too about eyeshadow palettes. How do you clean those? I've told students in the past, it's something that you should always do, and it's using 7D and spraying. If you have a palette this size, you should probably spray 7 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, making sure all of the shadows are affected, even the ones you didn't use. 70 does not damage your eyeshadows. It should not damage. If it does, don't buy those brands anymore. There are a lot of brands that actually will take the 70 disinfectant. What you want to make sure you're doing is letting it air dry. You don't want to spray it and close it and put it away. That might affect the shadows. So just spraying it and leaving it to air dry, and then closing it once you see no evidence of wetness around. So that is something that you should do with all your eyeshadow palettes, your blusher palettes, anything that's dry, and that will keep them safe. Another thing is, what about the shimmer powders, the loose powders? That again, you would want to use your silver cup. You'd want to take it and put your powders in this, and then use your brush from this to put on. You don't want to be putting your brush on the plastic case. We've never really advised that. You usually put it on sort of a napkin or something like that, or on a palette, which is fine, but it just kind of gets everywhere and creates a mess. Using this silver container or pot will help you with that. So shimmer powders and any kind of loose powders you want to use in these. So just a big reminder as well that products should be replaced, like powder products should be replaced every 2 years. I've often said if they don't smell or things look okay, maybe you can keep them a bit longer. I think moving forward, you just have to just toss them. I think they actually stop losing or having the ability to do their job. So it's maybe just the things just throw off, and they don't really, they're not applied the same. You know, you get something that's brand new and you love it and it's just so great. And then as it gets older, it's just not working the same. So I think now powders 2 years, toss. Creams, foundations 1 year, toss. They're not going to give you the same coverage or the same consistency as they would have when you are using them in the beginning. So just be aware of that. Okay, a lot of products can be different too, so make sure you pay attention to what the expiry date says. Maybe there's cream foundations that are 18 months, they're okay. So just make a note of that. If you transfer them out from a different product, maybe you have a container that you like and you put your cream foundations in something, like a palette that you use, just make sure that you keep track of what went in at what time, and be aware of what you have to do to change over. If you are changing over a foundation cream that you put into a palette, you want to make sure that you're cleaning that particular palette that you're replacing with. So just be aware of that. So yes, when you're also, just make sure you do clean all your surfaces as well once you leave, and get rid of all your surfaces everywhere. Just be, again, like Uber, like you should have almost like a sanitation kit with you moving forward, with all of your extra disposables, your Lysol, your everything. Maybe you need gloves. Like there's things that you're gonna, I think, be requested that you will be surprised. There's already people that are very germophobic, that are uber uncomfortable. They might want you to be wearing gloves. So these are things that you should be thinking about having in your kit as well. Again, just making, just being clear that, I know it's going to be tough in the beginning. These steps might slow us down, but in the end, you'll get better and quicker at everything once you get into it and become second nature. So maybe add 5 minutes to services when you're thinking about, doing a plan, just to make sure. And you can even say, my services are going to take a little longer. Moving forward, I've just implemented some new health and safety due to COVID. And I just want to ensure that my practices are healthy and safe for your clients. They are not going to say, oh, no, don't bother. So just make sure that you make the time for it. Again, cleaning brushes in between clients. I think you should just have more brushes. If you do want to do it, just make sure there's ample time to dry. It's best to have your brushes so that they are always clean with soap and water. It's just the way you want to make sure you think. Soap and water, it really gets in there and cleans better than anything else. So just think in your head, I would love to have my brushes super clean for every client. So again, think about expanding your brush collection. I think that going forward, if you notice that we've talked about running out things. Again, we've talked about powders. Mascara is the only thing I think we haven't touched on. And if you're thinking about mascara, again, we've always used the practices of using our mascara wands, and those have always been successful in doing that. So you're going to keep with that same pattern. Again, no double dipping, you know that. Use a new fresh one on every client. These are quite durable. I wash mine. It's hard sometimes. You want to be conscious about being wasteful. I feel like these are super wasteful, so I like to clean mine. They're wire, they're hard plastic, they're durable. So I take these and I soak them in Dawn and hot water and let the Dawn kind of pull everything off, and then I rewash in Dawn and dip in 70, and they're good to go. Again, you want to put them in a sealed container so that they are, they stay clean and safe. Yeah, and I think I feel like I've touched on everything when it comes to makeup. I think, again, I've stressed some more important things for us to start implementing, and I think that that's a really good way to move forward in this time. If there's any other questions that you want answered, we do our Zoom, so you can Zoom in with me tomorrow and ask away. And if there's something that maybe you're not quite clear on, we can talk about that as well. So yeah, just other bits I thought that I might bring up was always do a little bit more washing of hands. Sanitizing is sanitizing, and that's all great. But when you're washing your hands and you're doing that in front of a client, I think it's going to make the clients feel really good. So do that a little bit more than you've used before. Again, sanitizing in front of your clients, washing your hands in front of your clients is still very recommended, and I think you all know that. Keep your station spotless. So I know I'm so guilty of just having like a nightmare of a mess when I'm done because I'm moving things and moving all things around. I think we all have to take a bit of a slower approach and put things away and keep things looking really, really nice. Purchase things with pumps. It's another thing moving forward. Helps your job easier. You're not scooping things too much. You're pumping. I think that's something that will help you in your future. Again, toss out all the old stuff. If you're like, I don't know when I got this, just toss it, don't question it. Invest in yourself, which is your kit, and that will help you be a successful makeup artist. Never share, and we talk about this a lot within a school situation, and someone's forgot something, you feel bad, it's test day, they need your blushes. No sharing, just don't. Otherwise you have to toss it out. Think about that. And yes, so never share. Sanitize in and out, always. Inside sanitize, outside sanitize, all your things. Just go overboard. And that's why you do this deep clean now, and it'll be easier for you when you have your first client. And then always, again, take care of yourself. Again, it's lucrative, your career, it's your health that matters. It's the health of your clients also that matter, but you can't do your job if you're sick. And you can't do your job well if somebody else makes you sick because you were trying to do a favor for someone. So just make sure that you are doing your best to be uber safe and extra careful. And then this transition for this new normal will be a little bit easier for you in moving forward. So that's that segment of health and safety. And I think I covered as much as I can for now. So I think we will stop here and move into doing some hair and have a little more fun instead of it being all lectury like I've just been lecturing you. So I am going to stand up here, and I've got Molly waiting for me. I'm just trying to figure out, Amir, what you want me to do with this sound box thing. Do you want me to put it back? Or what about my pocket?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to turn our Molly around here. Sorry, just kind of. And what I wanted to do today was talk a little bit about doing a style that's more of a sleeker style. We've done a lot of messy, as I said earlier on, so I really wanted to make sure that I gave you one more look, so then you're really well versed in everything that is hair and kind of bridal hair. So I'm going to move a few of my supplies over here so that I'm more able to get at them. I'll close my book. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use today a straightener, which I haven't used. I do have my curling iron here as well, just for things maybe if we're going to pull out a few bits, but I don't think we will today, but you just never know. If I bring my straightener and I think I don't need my curling iron, I always need my curling iron. So I always bring both to most services. Sometimes my curling iron doesn't curl, like Asian hair is quite coarse and thick. I always have to curl it with a straightener. So that is something that you want to make sure you have. So I've kind of sectioned my girl already, and what I'm just going to do is basically run the straightener through. Again, of course, I'm going to use my Joico. I use the thermal protector just to give that an extra heat protection that we all like. And then I'm just going to take my straightener and just go in and start with small sections, of course, and then you can just make sure that this is being nice and straight. Again, it's going to be an updo, so you're not going to have to do a super uber perfect straightening job because it's going to be tucked away, but you definitely want to get rid of the flyaways. You can put a bit of shine on there as well. And again, just keep her just going. And it's nice. Take down the next section. Do a little spray. Run it through. Divide it up. And straighten it out a bit. Again, I was talking about this look. It is something that you do want to do on somebody that doesn't have a lot of variation in colors. If you're using a, like if you're just doing a bridal party and there's somebody that has longer hair and it's dark and there is no colors, it will look beautiful in a nice texture, messy style. This one's pretty darn easy to do. Takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it down, it's nice. Okay. Put a little bit of spray just for shine. When you do nice sleek looks, it's great if you do add the shine to it. It'll just make it extra polished looking, which is good. This has got just a little too much here. I'm going to take it out. I keep hearing of all the wedding stories of people. I'm just putting a little hairspray in this. It's a loose spray just to just give it a bit more control. Hearing about all the weddings that have been canceled and people figuring out new ways of doing it, a lot of Zoom weddings. And I've often thought about seeing if they want me to give them a makeup lesson online, approaching just to help these people out. Okay, a little more hairspray on this side. Let's just brush it through. Heat protector. For hairstylists too, I saw in the news that they were actually going to make it so that we wore a cape as well as the client wearing capes, and distancing obviously salons, so less people, and wearing masks as well, both client and stylist. Just wonder how long all of this is going to. It's just going to be the way it's going to go moving forward. Very interesting times. Okay, I'm going to just keep spraying some shine just to keep it nice and healthy looking. Last section here, obviously the most important section. Divide it into two. Spray some shine. Just looks a little bit dull. Heat protection. And just Just making sure we're getting everything nice and straight. Okay, and then this section here. A nice time to start asking clients if they want a part or if they all want it back. Sometimes you put the shine on before you straighten it, it'll really kind of lock in the shine. Either way. Just positioning it back. My girl likes her hair all off her face. So again, you're going to start to kind of brush and control the hair. I'm going to put some hairspray in again and just start taking it back. You might want to tease the section in this front, in the front panel, or the crown, I should say, if you feel you want to. We can just take this and then take kind of the front here, that section, and we'll just pop that in a little clip. And then we can take here that crown section. And give it a little tease. Stack, stack, stack all the hair. Over here, I think. And that'll just give it a bit more lift. Again, do a little spritz. Put my harder spray in. And just comb it. Make sure. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, now that we've got all the hair straight, and it looks nice and shiny, I think I might just straighten right here a little bit more. And then we're going to start pinning. So I've taken out a few things here. I've taken an elastic and a few bobbies. This one I have actually two different colored, just realized that. Put a black one in, or two brown, whatever you think matches best. So you just take your elastic and put one in either side of it, and then that becomes something that we're going to use twice in this hairstyle. So you can get that done first and in the beginning. So I've got my two ready to go and some bobbies for pinning. Might grab a few more just to make sure I don't run out. Okay, and then I'm going to sort of turn around, and then that way you can probably see a little bit better. I'll just kind of pop across. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this one section here, kind of from the ear back. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm just going to take it, and of course, I'm going to get my shaping spray. I'm going to take it here, making sure I like the way it looks, kind of. You don't want to make it too messy again, so we're not going to go too crazy, but you do want a little bit of texture, kind of popping out a bit. And then you're going to take a bobby and you're just going to pin it in. This one's not going to open for me very. Take it always take another two and just ensure, cross it over, lock it in so it's nice and tight. I'm going to position this again and just making sure I like the way that that's looking. A little more hairspray is always helpful. I'm going to take this part of my brush and just bring it in. You don't want it too slicky. That kind of looks sometimes a bit too contrived and old lady. So I will kind of pay attention to the way it looks around there. I'm going to take my other section and I'm going to sort of do the same, but I'm going to pin it into here. If there was a part, I'd sort of just do the same kind of style. I'm going to maybe kind of roll it a bit here and then pin into it. It's okay if you see the pins here, just because, oops, I don't like that one, you will be covering up. Like to get that in and pin it across. I'm just going to try to hide it in that here. Good. Okay, and then I'll pin again into it. And then you've got something nice and pretty here. Taking things out. Hairspray, hairspray. Again, too, using a lot of hairspray can kind of give some like darker hair, dark brown, even black hair. Sometimes it can do a good bit of dull. So do make sure you do some shine spray in there as well. Making sure that you're really happy with the way this all looks. Okay, now you've got the sections in the back. So you're going to kind of take the side section here and this side section here. And you're going to put this into ponytail. So you can use this one, you're going to use it differently both ways, but you're going to take it and you're going to put this pin in here back into that bunch, and then you're going to wrap around it. This way you're not interfering with the rest of the style. You're going to take it and then you're actually going to turn it and put it into that as well. See a little of my bobby pins coming through, so I'll just kind of make shift and cover them. And now you've got quite a secure pony. So now what you want to do with these sections is just make sure that they blend nicely with this side here, and then you're just going to pin it again. Now I should take it and just pin it in, and I'm going to leave that dangling. It's kind of driving me nuts there. I'm going to take this side and do the same thing. Oops. I'll try to pin this one again. I'm going to pin it the other way. Kind of just want to make sure I hide it, so I'm going to put it maybe down and in. There we go. And we'll do the same with this side. down and we'll pin it in. And then you're just going to kind of make sure everything looks good from the sides, everything sort of matching. Side here, everything is matching and good to go. This is a little bit of a bubble here. Again, I'll take my, my clips that I know I brought out, but I do have an extra one in here. These guys here. Oh, there, I see them now. Can kind of maybe make it so that that lies a little bit nicer there. Do it up here. Because I will be covering that up a bit. Okay. Now, you're going to take this section here. Got your two ends and your center. Now you're going to take your next piece here. First of all, we're going to take this. Do that after. And you're sure you're going to take it up and pin it across. It's a bit of a mind fart there, what the heck I'm doing. So you're going to take it, wrap it around, just suddenly here. You know what? I'm just going to actually put it in one of these first. I've just got to look at my note here. I've just suddenly had a brain fart on how to put this across. Take this, and you're going to want to lift it up in. Well, let's just figure this out here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to do it a little bit of a different way here. I'm going to fan this out. And then you've got this section here. And we're going to just do it a little bit of a different way, because the way I was thinking isn't going to quite work. And you're just going to take this section and you're going to roll it up in to a little bit of a, just a little bit of a roll. And then you're going to go on the inside and just clip it and bobby it in just to put it across. It's kind of the same idea as the other way, but the elastic just wasn't kind of going in for me the way I wanted it to. And then we're going to take this section here and put that in. And it's going to create sort of a lovely little bun, little sausagey bun. And then you can sort of fan it back out a little bit side to side. Bobby pin keeps coming up, I'll push that down. And this is all looking very sleek and exactly what we want. Then with these sections here, you can do one of two things. You can fan it out a little bit and just make sure here that this end meets nice, and you can sort of fan this out just to ensure, and you can take it across, and we're going to pin that in on this side. And I'm actually just going to use a hairpin here. Just so that stays there. I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to fan it out just to make sure. And I'll wrap this around as well. Pinning it in. And clipping it. And just making sure all the ends are all hidden, and your job is pretty much done here. Take these one sections, this one side. And we'll pop that in. And then you'll just make sure everything is fanned apart. Still trying to figure out where I brain farted something I did. But you can always recover from things, you don't panic. And you just want to make sure that everything is clean. I can release this pin now, carefully. And there you have it. And again, this is a style that you can put little bits and bobs in, just to have a nice little barrette. I don't think I have anything today, but maybe if I did, I could put something in here and it be a little bit, just a bit more dressed up. And let's see if I can clip that together. There. Oops, little pearl fell off. So there you have your do that is a nice little sleek do to now put into your repertoire. All of the flyaways go away and we are good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my desk over here and just talk quickly about just for this week's assignment, just so you guys are all super aware. So I want you guys to obviously do a nice sleek updo that is not messy, so nice and smooth and shiny and gives you something else to work towards and add to your repertoire. So this is going to be a part of your test or your assignment. And then I would like you guys to do a really good deep cleaning of your kit. I want you to take the time, pull everything out, look at everything. Think of yourself as a client, and if you went to someone's station and they saw what you have, and think about being in their shoes and see if you're questioning it, it's probably not in good shape. If things are torn and wrecked and shadow dust is everywhere and you try to clean it, it doesn't look that great, maybe you should figure out a different system. Maybe you should take out the colors that you like, put them in a magnetic palette. Think of things to like really make sure everything's clean and great. So I think that is also going to be your assignment. So take lots of pictures, and again, any questions about this hairstyle, we can talk about tomorrow. I will show you what I missed a step. I think I added a pony where I shouldn't have. Anyways, I will show you a different kind of style, very similar. It looks actually exactly the same. I just went about it and got it in a different way. So, but I will show you the elastic trick because I really wanted to show you that and it just wasn't working. So that tomorrow on Zoom we'll take care of. And yeah, I think that's everything for today. So I hope everyone has a good Thursday and has fun practicing these looks and deep cleaning your kit. And I will see you tomorrow on Zoom at 10 a.m. And I look forward to it. Bye, guys.